his third year of studying opera, Yu Kun finally got to go on stage as a background extra for his master. At last, he officially put on the opera costume. Before his first performance, his master warned him, "Be careful. These costumes have been passed down through generations. They're how we make a living." Throughout the entire show, Yu Lu Kun was extremely nervous, yet the accident only happened as he stepped off the stage. After the performance, he suddenly felt something catch on his costume. A sharp rip sounded. He was scared out of his wits. Back at the opera school, when his master noticed Yu Lu Kun was gone, he asked the other disciples, "Where's Little Six?" Little Six had disappeared. Many years later, during a media interview, Yu Lu Kun brought up this childhood memory. The host burst out laughing, calling him cute and silly as a kid. Yu Lu Kun only smiled bitterly. How could she understand? How could a post-90 seconds girl raised with loving parents, abundant material comforts, and endless affection possibly grasp what it meant for a 13-year-old orphan growing up in poverty to tear his master's heirloom costume? To him, it was nothing short of a disaster. That day, his master and fellow disciples searched for him all afternoon. In the end, it was Margaret who found him by the river. At dusk, 14-year-old Yu Lu Kun sat on the river embankment, staring blankly at the golden ripples. Suddenly, someone called his name from behind. "Little Six." He turned around. Margaret was looking at him with a bright smile. Embarrassed, Yu Lu Kun asked, "How did you know I was here?" Margaret did not answer directly. "Your master and 9 disciples are looking all over for you. The whole street knows you've gone missing." She walked over and sat down on the stone beside him. "Where are you performing today? Why didn't you go home?" Yu Lu Kun was still wearing the costume. He frowned miserably, staring at the tear, and muttered, "I ripped the costume. I'm scared my master will beat me." Margaret giggled. "I thought it was something earth-minus shattering." "Wait here." She took off her backpack, unzipped it, and pulled out a small pouch, ivory-white, embroidered with passion flowers, delicate and tiny. Inside were threads of 5 colors. She matched the color of the tear. "Take it off. I'll mend it for you." Desperate, Yu Lu Kun hesitantly removed the costume and handed it to her. Margaret took it, placed it on her lap, tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, threaded a needle, and her slender, fair fingers fluttered over the rip like a butterfly. She finished mending it quickly and handed it back. "Take a look. Is it well done?" Yu Lu Kun held the costume up to the sunlight and was stunned. He had no idea Margaret was so skilled. The stitches were tiny and neat. Unless one knew there had been a tear, no one would spot the flaw. He was utterly impressed. "You're amazing. I thought you only studied English." Margaret smiled. "I'm going to be a fashion designer." Yu Lu Kun was confused. "What's a fashion designer? A tailor?" Margaret curled her lip. "Country bumpkin." He pulled several books from her bag and handed them over. "Here." Yu Lu Kun took them. They were smooth, colorful picture books filled with people wearing beautiful clothes. Margaret pointed at a woman in a black dress. "This is Coco Chanel." She was a fashion designer. "Her brand is Chanel, the most popular women's fashion in the world. I want to study fashion design in Paris. I want to be like her." The world she described was far away. Yu Lu Kun listened, dazed lie, but he knew Paris was an extremely distant place. He spoke carefully. "Paris is very far. How will you get there?" Margaret glanced at him, lowered her long minus-lashed eyelids, and her voice suddenly softened. "Little Six, did you know? A mixed race. My father is Portuguese." Yu Lu Kun gasped softly. He had heard the stories. Since Hong Kong's founding, foreigners from all over the world had come to make their fortunes. British, French, Spanish, Portuguese. They stayed for years, far from home and their wives, and took Chinese women as lovers and mates. Even when children were born, they had no official status. When the men left Hong Kong, they cut all ties, leaving mother and child to survive alone. Margaret was clearly such a child, born from a Portuguese man's fleeting romance. Sure enough, compared to ordinary Chinese girls, she had a more statuesque figure, fairer skin, sharper features. Up close, her irises were pale, and the fine down on her face was golden. Seeing his thoughts, Margaret declared loudly, "My father isn't like that. He'll come take me to Portugal sooner or later." Portugal and France were both in Europe. Then she could go to Paris to study fashion, become the next Coco Chanel, but when would that day come? That night, Margaret walked home with Yu Lu Kun. Near his house, she parted from him at the corner. "If your brothers see us, you'll get bullied." Yu Lu Kun was touched by her thoughtfulness and urged, "They're not bad people. If you were nicer to them, you could get along." Margaret sneered, "I don't want to fit in with them." Beneath the summer stars and cool breeze, Yu Lu Kun understood young Margaret's heart. Her dream was to leave this street, this city, and never return to shake off the fleas and mud of her past. That was why she refused to blend in, let them reject her, isolate her. The more they did, the more she felt she was superior. Her future lay among the stars and oceans. Hong Kong's waters were too shallow to hold her great ship, bound to sail through wind and waves across the sea. For Yu Lu Kun had thought that even if the costume was fixed, he would still be beaten for running away. To his surprise, his master not only didn't punish him, he didn't even ask where he'd gone. From then on, he treated him much better. Full of doubt, Yu Lu Kun nervously turned 14. Several major events happened at the opera school that year. First, the eldest senior brother left. He was 2 years older than Yu Lu Kun, 16 that year. After puberty, he faced the worst nightmare for opera singers: voice breaking. His voice turned deep and hoarse, no longer high and clear. When he sang high notes, he sounded like an angry drake. A promising young lead was ruined. His master suggested he become a fiddler and offered to find him a teacher. But the eldest brother was too proud. He kowtowed twice heavily on the ground and left the opera school. Then the second, third, fourth senior brothers, none survived their voice changes. Fifth got through puberty safely, only to face another problem: growing too tall. And he was trained to play a female role, shooting up to nearly 6 feet. What male lead could possibly pair with such a tall actress? Watching his seniors leave one by one, Yu Lu Kun was terrified. Su Ping Gui had to pass 3 trials to return from Xiuyang to see Wang Baochuan. For an opera actor to step on stage and touch the feet of their ancestors, it was even harder. Skipping stones by the river with Margaret, Yu Lu Kun spoke anxiously. "What if my voice breaks too? What if I grow too tall?" He was 14, hitting puberty. Every morning, he felt he was a little taller. Margaret thought for a moment. "You can't stop your voice changing. But maybe we can stunt your height." Yu Lu Kun stared at her. "How?" "Stand up." When Yu Lu Kun stood, she jumped onto his back, wrapping her arms around his neck. He quickly held her thighs. Her skin was so soft he almost dropped her. Margaret leaned on his back, her warm breath brushing his ear. "If you carry me running several kilometers every day, it might stop you from growing too tall." Yu Lu Kun shifted her gently. "You're eating light. You should eat more." He ran a few steps. "Too slow," Margaret said. He sped up. "Still too slow." A surge of spirit burst in Yu Lu Kun like a ship catching a strong southwest wind. He ran full speed with Margaret on his back, shouting, "Is this fast enough?" From that day on, Yu Lu Kun met Margaret by the river every day. He carried her running along the embankment, back and forth against the river wind. The wind drifted between his cheeks and her calves. Light, cool, the wind of that 14-year-old summer. At dusk, planes from Kite Ak Airport flew overhead. Margaret lay on Yu Lu Kun's back, gazing up at the sky, and asked longingly, "Where do you think that plane is going? Could it be Portugal?"